I couldn't believe what I was seeing. After a month-long business trip hopping across Europe, I was practically buzzing to collapse into the comfort of my own bed. The taxi dropped me off at the entrance to my gated estate, and right away my stomach twisted. The front gate was flung wide open, creaking in the breeze, when I'd shelled out extra for a top-notch security Sarah VYC to keep it locked tight while I was gone. As I dragged my suitcase up the driveway, I spotted tire marks gouged across my pristine lawn, and every single light in my mansion was blazing like it was hosting a Vegas show. What the hell? I muttered, fishing out my phone, my heart already starting to race. I was about to punch in 911 when voices unfamiliar ones drifted from inside. My pulse hammered as I crept toward my own front door, only to find it unlocked. I pushed it open, and there, sprawled on my custom Italian leather couch, was a middle-aged woman with a sharp brunette pixie cut, sipping wine like she owned the place. She was barking orders at what looked like a cleaning crew scrubbing my Lee VYing room. The baseboards need another pass, and don't half-ass the ceiling fans this time, she snapped, her voice dripping with authority. When she clocked me standing in the doorway, her eyes narrowed like I was some delivery guy who'd wandered in. "Can I help you?" she asked, irritation practically oozing from her. "This is my house," I said, my voice slow and deliberate, trying to wrap my head around the insanity. "Who are you? And what the hell are you doing here?" She set her wine glass down with a clink and stood, arms crossed like she was scolding a kid. "This property's been sitting empty, dragging down the whole neighborhood. It looked abandoned. As president of the Crestwood Estates HOA, I've got a duty to keep standards up." I stared dumbfounded. "I've been gone for 4 weeks, on a business trip. That doesn't make my home abandoned, and it sure doesn't give you the right to break in." She scoffed, while VYing me off like I was the one being ridiculous. "Break in? Please. I'm protecting property values. The landscapers left a door unlocked. I just made sure this place wasn't going to waste." She actually smirked, then had the nerve to say, "Now, if you'll excuse us, we've got work to finish. You need to leave." I wasn't budging. "All of you out," I said, my voice steady but boiling inside, "or I'm calling the cops." Her face twisted, and she puffed up. "Do you know who I am? I'm Laura Hensley, HOA president. You can't talk to me like that." I just pulled out my phone again, ready to dial, while she stood there, fuming. Let me back up a bit. A month earlier, I'd been tying up loose ends for this trip. I'd built a tech startup from the ground up, and after it got acquired, I'd earned this break. My homey, a sprawling 6-bedroom mansion in an exclusive gated community, was my pride and joy, the payoff for years of grinding. Before I left, I'd hired a top-tier remote monitoring Sarah VYC, installed a state-of-the-art security system, and set up landscapers to keep the grounds pristine twice a week. What I didn't know was that Laura Hensley had just been elected president of the HOA in the neighboring community. Her whole campaign was about elevating property standards, and apparently my sleek, modern house didn't fit her cookie-cutter VY shine of class. Even though my place was under a different HOA entirely, Laura had decided to play sheriff. Neighbors later told me she'd been trash-talking my tacky glass box for months, calling it an eyesore. When she noticed I was gone, she started cruising by daily, snapping photos, whining to anyone who'd listen about how my abandoned mansion was tanking the area's VYB. She even conned my landscapers, claiming to be my aunt checking on the place. That's how she got her foot in the door, literally. They'd left a side entrance open while MOVYing equipment, and Laura waltzed right in. What started as a nosy peek turned into a full-blown takeover. For 3 weeks, Laura made my home her personal playground. She hosted her book club in my media room, sipping Chardonnay while debating self-help books. She rearranged my furniture to match her tasteful aesthetic, even started painting my dining room wall a bland, HOA-approved taupe. She disabled my security alarm on day 1, though. Thank God, the cameras kept rolling to the cloud. She changed my locks, claiming it was for security, and had her cleaning crew in weekly, billing their work to her HOA's beautification fund. She forwarded her mail to my address, hung her clothes in my closets, and swapped out my family photos for her tacky wall art, which she stuffed into boxes in my garage. Neighbors saw the active VY tie and assumed I had family staying over. Laura even filed a change of address form with the post office, like she was planning to move in for good. Back in my Lee VYing room, Laura wasn't backing down. "I've been here for weeks," she declared, planting her hands on her hips. "I've established residency. You can't just kick me out." I was done. "This is my house," I said, my voice low and dangerous. "I've got the deed, the mortgage, every legal right. You're trespassing." She smirked, pulling out her phone. "We'll see about that. I'm calling the police to report squatter. You don't even look like you belong here." I almost laughed at the absurdity. "Go ahead, call them. Save me the trouble." While we waited for the cops, Laura kept bossing her cleaning crew around, even telling me to take my shoes off because she just had the floors polished. I stood my ground, filming everything on my phone, trying not to lose it. When two officers showed up 20 minutes later, Laura rushed them like they were her personal security. "Officers, thank God. This man claims this is his house, but I've been maintaining this abandoned property for weeks. He's clearly squatting." The cops glanced at me, and I stayed calm, pulling out my passport with fresh travel stamps, my driver's license with this address, and digital copies of my deed. "Officers, I'm the VY Dingwin. This is my home. I've been in Europe for a month and came back to find this woman breaking in and refusing to leave." The officers checked my ID and confirmed it matched the property records. Then they turned to Laura. "Ma'am, do you have any proof you're allowed to be here?" Her face went scarlet. "I don't need proof. I'm the HOA president. This house was a hazard." One officer cut her off. "Being an HOA president doesn't let you enter private property without permission, let alone live there." Laura's confidence started to crack. "The door was open," she stammered. "The landscapers left it unlocked. It looked empty." That's when I suggested they check my security footage. I pulled up the app, and there it was, Laura sneaking in, directing movers to shuffle my furniture, hosting parties, even sleeping in my master bedroom. "I'd like to press charges," I said, my voice steady but burning. "Breaking and entering, unauthorized occupation, property damage, whatever fits." The officers nodded, and we toured the house to document the chaos. Laura's clothes were in my closets. Her tacky decor replaced my photos. Receipts for wine and groceries she had delivered littered my kitchen. The half-painted dining room wall and scuffed furniture sealed her fate. "Ma'am, you're coming with us," one officer said, pulling out handcuffs. "You're under arrest for unlawful entry, fraud, vandalism, and property damage." Laura's jaw dropped. "This is outrageous. I was protecting the neighborhood." As they read her rights, she lost it. "Do you know who I am?" she shrieked, her voice bouncing off my vaulted ceilings. "I run the HOA. I set the rules. He abandoned this place." The cleaning crew slipped out quietly, clearly wanting no part of this mess. As the cops led Laura to their car, she kept ranting about community standards and how she was doing everyone a favor. My neighbor across the street caught the whole thing on his phone. By that evening, the VY Deo of Laura being hauled off in cuffs, screaming about her HOA power, was blowing up neighborhood group chats. 2 weeks later, she faced court. The judge wasn't VYing it, especially when VY Denke showed she'd been planning to rent out my guest rooms for profit. Laura got 18 months of probation, a Dula 35,000 bill for damages and legal fees, and 200 hours of community SARE VYC. She was banned from ever SARE VYing on an HOA board again. When the judge ordered her to write a public apology for the community newsletter, Laura clutched her purse like a lifeline and fainted right there in the courtroom. As I settled back into my home, I couldn't stop thinking about how one person's ego could spiral into such a disaster. Laura thought she could play queen, but all she did was prove how far some people will go to control others. So what do you think? Was Laura just a busybody gone rogue? Or did she genuinely believe she was SAVYing the neighborhood? Should HOAs have less power to meddle in people's lives? Or are they still needed to keep things in check? And honestly, would you have kept your cool if you found someone VYing and saw your house? Drop your thoughts below. Hit that like button if this story got your blood pumping. And subscribe for more wild tales.